In the fields of Moab, where the rugged hills met the horizon, a young woman named Ruth lived a life shaped by loyalty, love, and an unshakable faith. Ruth was a Moabite, born into a land often at odds with Israel, yet her story would bridge the divide between nations and echo through history as a testament to devotion and divine providence. Ruth's life took a dramatic turn when an Israelite family from Bethlehem arrived in Moab during a famine. Elimelech, his wife Naomi, and their 2 sons sought refuge in the foreign land, fleeing hunger but finding sorrow. Elimelech died, leaving Naomi a widow in an unfamiliar place. In time, Naomi's sons married Moabite women, Ruth and Orpah. For 10 years, the family lived in Moab, but tragedy struck again when both sons died, leaving Naomi bereft of her husband and children. Naomi, hearing that the famine in Israel had ended, resolved to return to Bethlehem. She urged Ruth and Orpah to stay in Moab, to return to their families and seek new beginnings. Orpah, though tearful, eventually obeyed, but Ruth clung to Naomi with a steadfastness that would define her character. "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you," Ruth declared. "Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God." Ruth 1 verse 16. With these words, Ruth bound herself not only to Naomi but also to the God of Israel, forsaking her homeland and her past. The 2 women journeyed to Bethlehem, arriving as the barley harvest began. Ruth, determined to provide for Naomi, went to glean in the fields, gathering leftover grain as was permitted for the poor. By divine guidance, she found herself in the field of Boaz, a wealthy and kind-hearted relative of Elimelech. Boaz noticed Ruth's diligence and inquired about her. When he learned of her loyalty to Naomi, he was moved and extended his protection. "May the Lord repay you for what you have done," Boaz told her. "May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." Ruth 2 verse 12. Naomi, recognizing Boaz as a potential kinsman redeemer, someone who could restore their family's lineage, devised a plan. She instructed Ruth to approach Boaz at the threshing floor after the day's work. That night, Ruth lay at Boaz's feet, a gesture of humility and a request for his protection. Startled awake, Boaz listened as Ruth asked him to spread the corner of your garment over me, symbolizing his willingness to take her as his wife and fulfill the role of redeemer. Ruth 3 verse 9. Boaz, impressed by Ruth's integrity and devotion, agreed. But first, he addressed a legal matter. Another relative had a closer claim to redeem Naomi's land and marry Ruth. At the city gate, Boaz presented the case before the elders. When the other relative declined, Boaz publicly declared his intention to redeem the land and take Ruth as his wife. The elders blessed the union, praying that Ruth would be like Rachel and Leah, who built the house of Israel. Ruth and Boaz's marriage was a turning point not only for them but for all of Israel. Ruth bore a son, Obed, bringing joy and hope to Naomi, who cradled the child as her own redemption. Obed became the grandfather of King David, placing Ruth, the Moabite woman who had shown such extraordinary faith, in the lineage of Israel's greatest king, and ultimately, in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. Ruth's story is one of transformation. From a foreign widow gleaning in the fields to a matriarch in the royal line of Judah. Her unwavering loyalty to Naomi, her boldness in seeking Boaz's protection, and her quiet faith in the God of Israel turned her life into a testament to the power of love and providence. As we reflect on Ruth's life, we see a woman of courage and conviction, who stepped into the unknown and found her place in God's plan. Her story reminds us that faithfulness, even in the smallest acts, can lead to a legacy that changes the world.